Let's look at how we can output different messages to the console in Unity. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new C# script, and I'm just going to call this test. So let's open this up, and we will be presented with a blank C# script. Now let's first look at how we can just output anything into the console. To do this, I'm going to use the update function, and I'm going to have an if statement. And in this if statement, I'm going to check if a key was pressed. So I'll do get key down, and for this, let's start with keycode.a. And if it's pressed A, then we're going to output something to our console. So to do this, you're just going to want to type debug.log and then the string you want. So this is a basic message. And then of course you want to end that with a semicolon. And this is the basics on how you can output any message into the console. So let's go back to Unity and let's save our scene and let's run it. If I click the console tab here to sort of show our console, and then I click back into our game and press A, you can see a basic message has appeared. Now if we click this, we can get some more information. We can see sort of what has called it. So as we can see, our test script has called it in its update function, and that has happened at line 18. So if this was an error or an issue, then you could double click that and it will take you straight to the line where it has happened. So let's close this and let's add more. I'm going to copy this if statement, and I'm going to do that twice. And I'm just going to change the key code to B and then to C. And now if I change the log to debug.log warning, you can see this is accepted. So let's change this to a basic warning, and let's do the same here on the last one, but let's change this to error, and then we'll change this to this is a basic error. So let's go back to Unity and let's run our game now. And if I press A, of course we get the basic message. If I press B, we now get a warning. And if I press C, we get an error. So this is very useful if you have errors in your game, or if you have sort of functions that shouldn't be able to give a specific output, but they do. So you can always call this, and therefore you know there's an error as it will come up red in the bottom. So now let's start to look at string concatenation. Let's duplicate this once again, and this time we'll do keycode.d. And let's look at how we can sort of pass variables into our messages. So I'm going to define a variable, and I'm just going to have this as a private string, and let's just call this test string. And let's give this a value. So let's have this equal to test string. So now let's also do a private integer, and let's just have this as test int, and then let's equal that to 100. Where we've created our fourth sort of debug.log, we're going to want to do plus at the end, and then we'll do test string, as that is our variable name. And then let's also do our test int. And now I'm going to change the message here to say my variables are, and then let's save that, and let's go back to Unity and let's run this. So if I now press D, you can see it said my variables are test string and 100. If we go back into our script, you'll notice that is exactly what they are. So you can notice the capital S was outputted. I did that because I realized I named them the same thing, which was a bit silly on my behalf. And it also outputted 100. Now the only issue is it outputted them sort of straight together. Now we could get around this by doing something like this. However, that starts to get quite messy. Now let's look at a more efficient way to do this, which is more reader friendly, because this can start to get messy if you have a very long string. So let's copy this and let's just go here. And now we're going to want to do keycode E, as that's next in the alphabet. And now I'm just going to remove all this, and then I'm going to remove anything in the quotations. What we're going to want to do is put a $sign before the quotations. This essentially means that we can pass through variables directly into the string. Let's type my variables are, and then to pass through a variable, we'll want to do a squiggly brackets, and then put the variable name in, so test string and test integer. And let's just put an exclamation mark on the end. So let's save that and run this. And if I now press E, you can see the variables are test string and 100. So it is passed through the actual sort of values of the variables and not just the variable names themselves. Let's finally look at how we can use rich text. Now, rich text is a way to format your text and make it look nice. So let's again just duplicate this and let's change the key code to F. Let's remove everything here and just have the quotation. Now in the description below I will have attached documents, and this will give you different codes you can use for different functions and features in the rich text sort of area. Let's look at how we can change the size of our text. To do this, you're going to want to go to your keyboard, where next to M, hold shift and press the comma and the period, and that will give you these sort of triangle brackets. In this, we're going to want to type size equals, and then we'll want our size. So let's just do size equals 30. And then after this, without a space, we can just put something like, and then let's actually change the color. So now what we can do is, just like we did with size, we can just do color, and then we can do equals, let's do yellow. And then let's say what we want to be in yellow. We want and then to end the color, you want to do a slash and then color, and then close it. So let's then put our next word. So I want to put subscribe, and then let's end the size here. So we will do /size, just like we did for color. So let's now look at how we can make something bold. So we would want to do a B, and then we could just say this is bold, and then we'll do a /B. And now similarly for italics, we could do an I, and then we can just write italics, and then we'll do /I. And so let's save that, and now let's run this in Unity and see what happens. If I now press F, you can see we have a formatted text. We can see the like and subscribe is all size 30. We can see the and is a different color, which was yellow. And then we can see the bold is bold and the italics is in italics. So that is a rundown on the different features you can do with debug.log. This is very essential for any game development you do, because you're going to always want to make sure you have outputs if you want to know what is going on in your script. So this could be useful for if you had a variable and at some point in your script you needed to check what that variable is, or if you've not implemented a feature fully and you want to say this will happen now as a placeholder. Overall, debug.log is something you'll use every single time you program in Unity, so it is a very useful feature to learn inside out. I hope this tutorial was useful, and if it was, please like and subscribe.